If your father gave you to me, you are my responsibility from the bottom of your feet to the top of your head. I'm going to love everything about you, 100%. And if I can't do that, I'm not a man.
So, first thing we have to do is we have to ask ourselves the question, what does it mean to be a man? Because being manly has nothing to do with a woman. It has nothing to do with pandering. It has nothing to do with just providing. Being a man means being purposeful.
I want to use myself for example. I provide 100% for my woman.
Does it matter how old he is? How old is this guy that's asking this question? Because if you're 40, I think it's a completely different conversation.
Then you might get a woman that just wants you because of your finances. So you don't know what kind of woman you have when your finances is slowing down, when things is getting tough.
Should men be expected to cover 100% of the bills? This is a major stressor to a lot of brothers out here. A lot of brothers out here split between this. A lot of brothers say that's absolutely insane to cover 100% of the bills. And a lot of other, the ladies are saying that this is a must. I must get a brother to cover 100% of the bills. So let's bring some clarity to this, Yada. I'm gonna have you open up the conversation here. Should men be expected to cover 100% of the bills?
First, I want to say all praise is due to the Most High, and I want to pray real quick if you don't mind.
Let's go.
In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful, strengthen me and guide me, allow God to speak through me. Allow it to electrify the room and remove all dusty demons from the table. All praises due. Amen and amen.
You getting up there?
All praises due to God.
When you leave.
Off the chain.
Now, what's the question, brother?
Right.
What's the question?
So the question
He said
is,
you getting up.
What's the question?
should men be expected to cover 100% of the bills?
I believe if men are claiming to be providers, and we know that means to take care of whoever's under you, that he should provide 100%. While we're doing this, this gives the woman time and space, not just to be great for the man, but also great for the children. And I want to use myself for example. I provide 100% for my woman. My son, he's only 5 years old, and he was tested 2 days ago, if I'm not mistaken. 2 days ago. He's only in kindergarten, but he tested at a 4th grade level. Why is that? Because I handle my responsibility, providing, and providing isn't just financial. Any man off the street can walk to a woman and give her money. Providing is elevating a woman mentally, elevating a woman spiritually, emotionally. This is what it means to provide for a woman. Not just, here's some money, run off with it. No. Let me elevate you. Let me bring you closer to your God. Let me set standards in your life. If your father gave you to me, you are my responsibility from the bottom of your feet to the top of your head. I'm going to love everything about you, 100%. And if I can't do that, I'm not a man. I'm a male. And that's a difference.
That's your one
Man,
track.
talk to me, brother.
No.
Talk to me, brother.
No.
So y'all is saying that a man should pay 100% of the bills. Here's my thing. I'm a man that pays 100% of my bills in my house. My wife, I told her, I don't want you touching the bills or whatever. That's me. But I'm not the guy that's going to tell you that a man has to pay 100% of the bills. Because that's also saying that if a man can't pay 100% of the bills, you're not a man. That's not true. Every situation is different. I see great marriages where they're doing 50-50 or 75-25.
This is what we're going to do.
Talk to me, brother.
Because he's like Kamala Harris right now.
Talk to me, brother.
And I've heard all of these talking points.
Talk to me.
And I don't even study him. Because he says the same thing over and over again.
Talk to me.
You got to control yourself.
to
Because
me,
that's
brother.
not manly.
Talk to me, brother.
You got to control yourself.
Brother, talk to me, brother.
So you see how I was quiet when you were speaking?
No, you cut me off, but go ahead, brother.
I didn't say anything.
You got it, brother. There you go.
I was quiet when you were speaking.
Go ahead, brother.
And so now we're going to add nuance. Now we're going to add context. So first
Context
thing
matters.
we have to do is we have to ask ourselves the question, what does it mean to be a man? Because being manly has nothing to do with a woman. It has nothing to do with pandering. It has nothing to do with just providing. Being a man means being purposeful. That's what being a man is. That means that whatever it is that I seek from God, because my purpose is not a woman. A woman is a helpmeet. So when he panders to you guys, and ladies, remember, I don't know what he's selling. I don't know what product that he has. But my goal is to get you married. My goal is to have you married based off of what God says is sanctified, right? I don't want y'all divorced. I don't want you unequally yoked. I don't want you to be a single baby mama. I don't want you shooting your shot in the dark thinking that this guy is giving you insight when he's just giving you talking points with no real substance behind it. And here's the context. At what age do you want to be married? Do you put yourself in a position to find the person that's best for you? Has your father given you away? Does your parents actually see value in the person that is looking to marry you? And when you start to ask yourself these questions, and I don't speak to just rich people because we both have money, we both have resources. So let's remove that from the table. I speak to the majority, not the minority.
Facts.
And when you are 20, 21, 22 years old, especially if you are a person that's looking to become a man, you are supposed to fail in controlled environments, meaning that your father is not even supposed to give you everything. He's supposed to give you what you need in order to be successful. My father was able to buy me a car, but he told me that I had to earn it and work for it because I valued it more, which then extended to every single thing that I touch, including the woman. See, my wife is here. My wife travels with me. She knows me. She understands me, right? And so at 20, 21, 22 years old, you supposed to be broke unless you're doing something that you ain't supposed to do in order to get it.
Social media has made it seem as if at 22, 25, you're supposed to have life figured out. You're supposed to be making mistakes and then picking yourself back up and dusting yourself off. Nowadays, if you're not a millionaire or you're not making six figures at 22 years old, you're broke. Women don't want you. You're not supposed to be in relationships because you can't cover 100% of the bills. That shouldn't be the expectation for a 22-year-old, for a 25-year-old.
You're supposed to be building. You're supposed to be understanding each other. It's a storming, a norming, a forming situation. And in no circumstance do you ever come into it fully understanding who the person is, regardless of whether you're a man or a woman. And so when we start to look at what God has ordained to be great, the purpose of a man, it's not just to give spirituality and leadership, and it's to understand. The first thing that the word says, in everything that you do, you get understanding. And everything you do, you get understanding. I don't even know her. I don't even know you. Everybody is out here dating, everybody running around, everybody doing everything. They're giving themselves to each other. We think that money or resources or what you can do or what you can offer a person is supposed to make up for all of the insecurities and the problems and the issues that you have in your childhood. What have you solved for? Right? Do you have problems in your childhood? Do you even have a father? Do you know what it means to be a man? It's a lot of women that's raising men to be feminine because they're in single parent households, right? How does that look? What does it look like when you get into a situation with a woman that has a child out of wedlock already, and then she still has to deal with the father? How do you deal with that? See, these are the questions that he can't answer for you because the only thing he talks about is pandering. I'm talking about context. I'm talking about substance. I'm talking about spirituality. I'm talking about praying together. I'm talking about building. You're supposed to get married when you're young because it prevents you from sinning and finding yourself with all of these bodies and these soul ties that ultimately carry with you for the rest of your life. And then you start to see every single man and you can't take it out of your memory with the person that you wind up being with. Most women have skipped over the man that they're supposed to be with because they didn't have the guidance, because they didn't have the spirituality. They don't know the word of God. And so it's easy to just say, oh yeah, just provide 100%. What happens when life happens and you 22, 23, 24 years old and you get married?
I tell people all the time, if that girl is not going to be with you, if Hurricane Katrina hits your city and you no longer have your money, your house, your cars, if she's not going to be with you no more because you can't provide 100%, you should not be with her. because part of being with somebody, you should be with somebody that'll be with you, not because of money, because tough times happen. So if tough times happening and I can't cover 100%, that tells me that you're not going to be with me no more, because the expectation is, as a man, I have to be doing 100%. My thing is, there's nothing wrong with doing 100%. Like I said in the beginning of this video, I pay 100% of the bills by choice. My wife did not force me. She even said, babe, I'll get a job, it's fine. Like, I mean, I can do, like, and no, it's cool. Now, I mean, I want to do that. But if a man is not doing that, that does not make you less of a man. I do feel like men should strive to be able to pay 100% of the bills. I do think that even if you can't pay 100% of the bills right now, part of you setting up your goals, your financial goals, is get to the point where you can afford to cover 100% of the bills if your wife was to stop working, if she was to get pregnant, if something was to happen, you know that, okay, we could still put the family on my back. I think that's something a man should strive to. But if you're not there yet, that does not mean you're not a man.
Guess what? You got a plan, and then God has a plan. What happened to the character? Why you don't talk about character?
Hold on, and Anton,
Why he don't talk about character? Because what I teach my daughter, I'm a reflection of the man that I would want my daughter to marry. I don't tell my daughter to go and look for a guy to provide for her. I tell my daughter to go and look for a guy that's believing in God, that has good character, that actually worships and looks for and focuses on his purpose, because everything else falls in line. The money is going to come. We so busy chasing money. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and everything else will be added unto you. You don't have to chase money. You don't have to look to women to provide for them, because if you're naturally that, if you're raised up in the admonition of your father, which is what God has ordained for you to do, you don't have to worry about that. That's naturally in you. And so, yes, absolutely, she should be purposeful. And her purpose at that time could be raising the children, depending on if y'all got children. Her purpose at that time could be out there and bringing in resources, because she's learning a new skill that can then translate into the company that y'all build together. It's a lot of nuance and a lot of context. But I hate it when people pander to women, because they leading y'all astray. And it sounds like I'm a harsh father. It sounds like it's a difficult situation. It sounds like you're just supposed to be giving everything. But if that's the case, then why are we as a society, why are we as a people, as black people in particular, so far behind, and we further behind than we ever been, even though we the freest and we have the opportunity to choose for ourselves? This isn't God. Ain't none of this what he talking about God right now. And I ain't even studied him. I ain't even getting started. I'm gonna let you cook. Go ahead, do your thing.
Wait. So, but I want clarity before we move on.
Go ahead,
because when we talk about should men pay 100% of the bills,
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming that means, based on the context that you just gave,
It's based
that
off
men-
of your circumstance and situation. Everyone is different, and nobody is a monolith.
My brother.
Nobody is
My
a
brother.
monolith.
Okay,
I
let's go, Yada.
love how he put so much passion into his words.
I agree with Anton.
But when God created man, God gave man a purpose. And what was the purpose? What was the purpose? He placed that man in a garden. What's this? That's a tree. What's this? Those are clouds. What's that? That's a sky. What's that? That's a bear.
That's not what happened.
Listen to
You
me.
don't even know the
Man,
word of
listen
God.
to me.
You don't even know the word of
Listen
God, but
to
I'ma
me,
let you
brother.
cook.
Listen to me. And when God seen that he was fit to represent himself as a man, he put him to rest. And from that rib, he took Eve. Now, this is a fact. Now we have to understand, what does it mean when you create a woman from the rib? What is a rib? A rib protects the internal organs, the heart and the rib. If the rib is mishandled, it fractures, it breaks. And what does that do to the man? It leaves him vulnerable. It leaves him hurt. But if a man handles this rib, protects this rib, uplifts this rib, guides this rib, loves this rib, this woman is able to become something greater than what she was created, which uplifts the man himself. So God gave a man responsibility before he gave him a woman. He didn't say, here's Adam and here's Eve. He says, here's Adam and here's a responsibility. And then when God was seeing that he was fit to be considered a man and a head, which God is the head of man and man is the head of woman, he then gave God Eve. And then what happened, brother?
Just because you're not paying 100% of the bills does not mean you're dragging your woman through turmoil. He's dragging it. Yeah, he's really dragging it.
What's that?
Is that she hearkened to the voice of the serpent. And the man wasn't there to protect her. God was. They had everything. They didn't even know that they was naked. He made her because he said that it wasn't good for man to be alone. And he didn't point to figure it out. He let him name every single thing that was in the garden. And the context matters. And this is what happens when you know your word. And the interesting part about it is the devil know parts of the Bible too.
Oh, man.
The devil know parts of the Bible too. So that the serpent itself was able to beguile Eve because he understood what God told them not to do.
Murder at high numbers. We're still going through the sins of Adam not being a provider and a teacher, because a provider isn't just financial. Providing is emotionally, mentally, spiritually, intellectually. This is what a provider is.
Okay, so y'all agree on this then? Y'all basically agree on this. What you're saying is a man doesn't have to not have to pay 100% of the bills. Is part of being a provider is not just finances.
I think it's really important for us to give context to the brother who is on the come up, because I know a lot myself of brothers at different levels. I have a vast friend group here in Atlanta of brothers from a financial perspective, they've already made it. And other brothers who are absolutely ambitious. They're in masterminds, they're investing in themselves, but they have not really quite arrived at that place where they feel in this economy that they can really provide for the family at the level that they want, at the vision that they want. But they also may still have a lady that they love or that they're building with. Is it a good idea? Because I really want to give the men some game here. Should men take on a woman that they feel like they love and is an asset before he is capable and ready to 100% provide?
What do you mean by, let me ask just a little bit more context.
Yeah.
What do you mean by is an asset?
Well, he feels like she has the qualities of a good wife.
Because I
and a
believe that
long-term
every
partner.
woman can be an asset, but I'm wondering, in the context of your
Not
question,
every woman.
what do you mean by that?
As she
Not every woman could be an asset. There's a lot of women that are liabilities, especially in nowadays.
has the qualities to become a wife and his long-term partner that he can build with.
So it's a woman that I'm assuming the woman that a gentleman is serious about.
Absolutely.
Should he take her on if
So
he can't quite provide 100%?
should he jump into
But
this?
yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to summarize it because I'm a C student. I'm slow. He's smarter than me. Should he get into a relationship with this woman even though he can't provide 100%? Is that what y'all
100%,
asking?
yes.
Okay, all right, I got you. Is that a question for me?
Actually,
First?
how about this? I want to actually hear from Yad on this one because I'm not sure who's
because I think we're trying to clarify: is it should that be the goal to pay 100%, or should that be the standard even prior to getting into a relationship?
Okay. You're saying it should.
You may find your wife, you may find your husband before he's able to pay 100% of your bills. But too many women are looking at men and they're like, oh, because you can't 100% provide for me, even though we can make this work, 50-50 or 75-25, the fact that you can't do that right now, I'm going to pass on you. But the whole time, the man had so many good husband qualities. But then the man that can pay 100% of the bills, he's not a husband. But you're trying to make him into a husband. It's hard to find men that can pay 100% of the bills.
Goal or the standard? What do you mean? Break it down a little bit.
So you change.
Break it down a little bit for me.
So
What's so hard about this question?
Because
Okay.
I want to make sure we ask the same
Because
question.
I don't want to change the question. I want to make sure we're clear on the question. The question is simply, if we have a brother who is not ready to 100% provide at this point in his life and time, should he seriously be looking to pursue, marry, and build with a woman?
No.
Can I ask one more question?
Yes.
Or let me just add one more piece of context.
That's
Does it
crazy.
matter how old he is? How old is this guy that's asking this question? Because if you're 40, I think it's a completely different conversation
Okay.
than if you're 20.
well,
then
let's
how
say
about this?
between
Give me-
30 and 40.
Give me the context on the different age groups. You can wrap that all into your answer when you contextualize your response.
Let him go.
I believe
Go ahead.
that, again, I think that if you're 20, marriage it's a multi-purpose construct, right? It's not just for love. I look at marriage as a business also. As a matter of fact, I also look at marriage as a business first. It doesn't mean that it absolves you from love, but I absolutely look at it as a business. On top of that, it's also supposed to prevent you from sinning. right? One of the things that I advocate against is people doing married people things without, and again, you got to come from the perspective that I look at this through the lens of a Christian, right? So I'm saying that a lot of times people want to jump head first into sex out of wedlock, children out of wedlock, so on and so forth. And I believe that that absolves you from that. And it also gives you a greater purpose and responsibility because you now have to shepherd over somebody other than yourself. And generally, especially men, most men, you're supposed to care more about the people around you. And that's why even when you're trying to solve for something or even when you're trying to be successful, they tell you to think about somebody other than yourself, because sometimes if you do it just for you, you won't care. But if you're doing it for your daughter, if you're doing it for your son, if you're doing it for people that's outside of you, even your mother or your father, when you add people into that equation, a lot of times you'll be a lot more purposeful and you'll be a lot more dedicated, consistent, and so on and so forth. So if you're solving for sin, if you're solving for also wanting to be successful, but understanding that it's an exchange for strengths for weaknesses, because it's not just one way, right? Women do add value into the conversation, and you're 20, 21, 22, 23 years old, you're supposed to be broke. Relatively, I mean, compared to what me and him have, you're supposed to be broke. You're not going to be making $200, $300, $400, $1 million, $2 million a year. That's just a fact, unless you're doing something that you're not supposed to do. So at that age,
not all the time. You got kids that are rich as hell off of e-commerce, content creation, TikTok shop, drop shipping, all type of stuff. So you don't have to be doing something you ain't got no business doing, to make that kind of money at that age.
Absolutely advocate for people to get married. And I also believe that it's best for people that have less resources to get married, because it's a quicker way to build wealth. The goal ultimately should always be to where you can release her from doing the things that normal women would do that are single, as far as having to provide and protect for themselves. But at the same time, I also think that there's nuance in that, because if you're in a relationship with somebody that's early in there and you got it from scratch, I think that she has equity in what you do. If you're a 40, 50-year-old man, I think you need to probably get yourself together before you decide that you want to bring a woman into your space and you can't provide. And that's the context. I think that when you're older, if you've been playing video games and you've been doing the same thing over and over again and you don't have the results, you need to go and study your word. You need to get in your Bible. You need to dedicate yourself. You need to get a coach. You need to figure out what life is like. So at that point, I don't think that you should be in a relationship.
So context, just so I understand, a man between his 20s and I guess between 20 and 30, it's fine for him to not be able to provide 100%.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
He's building with his lady. As 100%. A man gets
40. And here's the rest of the context, though, because I think that in society, and we live in this social media culture, that everybody thinks that you're supposed to live in a mansion. Everybody thinks that you're supposed to have a high-rise condo. Right? You could provide 100%, especially if you have children, but are you willing to lower your lifestyle in order to build successfully and then add value into the assets that will ultimately make you rich in the future? Right? So it's so much nuance. There's so much context to this. And it depends on where you at in your life. It depends on what you study, and it depends on what your family structure is like. It depends on if you come from money and resources, right? All of those things matter. And I think that there is no one right answer. It depends on the circumstance, and everybody's circumstance is different.
There we have it. Okay, Yada, we're going to give you a chance to respond here.
I love the way he articulated himself. It was very beautiful. But being well-traveled, I've seen men provide 100% without having so much. And like the brother said, long as they're staying within their standards, I don't think a man should get into a relationship with a woman until he knows he's able to handle all responsibilities by himself, just in case that woman leaves him. Because if you're in a relationship with a woman and you're living with a woman and she's paying half and you're paying half and she leaves you, what are you gonna do? Lose everything you have, your car, your home? A man has to be able to provide for himself and another comfortably before he entertains a woman. But
that type of rhetoric that he's pushing, go get the money, make sure you can cover a family financially, and then start the date. But then you might get a woman that just wants you because of your finances. So you don't know what kind of woman you have when your finances is slowing down, when things is getting tough. I believe that it's a lot better when your woman could see you when you are down and she was with you, and then you come up. And once you come up, you know that if you was to fall, this woman was with you even when you was down. So she's not with you for your money.
Over not just speaking on the financial part, a man needs to make sure he's spiritually whole, mentally whole, emotionally whole. Because if he's coming from America and coming from certain backgrounds, majority of the time they're scarred. Even if they were raised in home with two parents, they're scarred and they're battling some form of childhood trauma. And men, we get so caught up in our ego and our pride, we tend to bleed on the person that's right next to us, forgetting this person's on our team. Now we're stressed out because we can't pay the bills like we should. She's fussing at us. Now what we do, we drinking more, we smoking more, we trying to run away from the truth. We're trying to run away from our children. Brothers, if you're listening to me and you didn't have the proper father in your life, please, I beg you, take care of yourself. Love yourself. Provide for yourself. Spend the first 5 years of your adulthood working on becoming the man that you need to be so you can get the woman you want and not the woman you settled for. Because a lot of men are getting into relationships with women they're settling for because they can't get the woman that they truly want. Now they're misusing this woman, abusing this woman. Children come, they leave this woman. Most men that leave women because they weren't properly good with them. They didn't love them. They couldn't connect to them on all levels. They got a
he's kind of going into another topic. This video was already way longer than I was expecting it to. Anyways, hey man, comment below. I want to see, what do you guys think in the comments? I personally don't feel like a man has to pay 100%. I feel like a man should strive to pay 100%, but you shouldn't have to pay 100% to be in a relationship. That's almost like buying a relationship. So that's my opinion on it. Comment below, what do you think? And please subscribe. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers, and I really appreciate y'all if y'all can hit that button. Until next time, man, it's been your boy Top Boogie. I'm out of here.